Hello friends and welcome to the Motion Run channel. Here is all about animation and related to this information topics. And today we'll break down how to create this amazing animation that OpenAI just dropped today, namely the intro for GPT-5. And as always, don't wait too long and let's just straight jump into After Effects. We start as usual by creating a composition with these parameters. Create a new solid. I'll name it BG, like background. Then add a new shape, then add a rectangle, fill and stroke. Set the width to 110 and 1220 and add some roundness. I'll name it rectangle, change the color to match our BG and make the stroke darker, closer like to black color. Also add some drop shadow to our rectangle, set the values roughly like this to get this slight shadow, and since our rectangle has the same color as BG, we need to separate it, so we add a subtle shadow. These values should be okay, I think, and make the stroke a bit lighter, create a new shape, add the ellipse and the fill to this ellipse. I'll rename it circle, set the size to 75 and move it to the right side. Change the color to something lighter, close to white, like kind of gray white. And I also prepared some icons. I'll leave them for you so you don't waste time like designing these icons, and I'll add them like directly to the work panel. I've got sound icon and also like a cross. Add the fill effect to adjust the color a bit to a bit lighter color of these icons. Copy this effect and paste it to the other icon. And next, write the text, something like ask something or something like that. The font I used in this is Inter, which is very similar to font OpenAI usually use, so it should be good. They have their own specific font that isn't available for public, so you can use Inter or Helvetica, which is also looks similar. Duplicate the circle, move it on top and make it black. Add the arrow, our arrow shape, and change its color with fill to white color. Also add the microphone icon and place it to the right side near the arrow. And for now, hide the arrow and the black circle, we'll need them later. Now we need to group the icons on the right and the elements on the left and parent them to null objects, so it will be easier to animate. This way we can animate just 2 nulls instead of animating 4 or 5 separate elements. And let's also animate the size of the rectangle. Create an initial animation going from 1000 to 1020. Also move the elements on the right side and left a bit towards to the center to create this initial animation. Set the color value to 90 and we'll get this animation. Also shift all the layers slightly to the left so the animation starts more dynamically already with high speed. And that's what we get. Next, continue animating the rectangle, specifically the size. We also need to animate the roundness. A normal value will be around 60. Keep it around 60 or 65 so the rounding looks natural and doesn't change when the shape size increases. Also trim some elements for now. We will have text being written, so we need to trim to switch the animation to the next step. Also, add more parenting and animate the position again of the two nulls, this time moving downward. Also, set the value to 100 on the animation graph, and I have some prepared text. Let's just type it out roughly like this, and I'll add guides to distribute the text evenly inside this rectangle. Here is about where the text will be placed. Font Inter, regular. Line spacing auto. Letter spacing -40, exactly like, yeah, -40. And also color a bit darker, closer to black. So we can even set the line spacing for 35 and also adjust the positioning of the layers. Some things need to be trimmed, some need to start correctly. Like I made a small mistake here. We need to two text positions, the initial and final, because the text will slightly shift to the left. At first I thought of doing this with a hold keyframe, but that doesn't work, so we can skip this detail. And next let's animate opacity to make a quick text reel effect. Opacity to 0, animate the start property, and set the first keyframe. At the second key, set the value to 100, animation graph value also 100, and then split the text into two parts, somewhere in the middle, with the opacity animator already applied. On the first text, keep the initial position. On the second text, set the final position when our rectangle is fully animated. Also trim the layers on the right side so the position change happens at the correct time. Also add some extra keyframes and trim a bit more. Add extra keyframes on the opacity animator so that in the first part, before the rectangle animation grows large, the text stays on one line. That will be around values 1520, keeping the text on the single line. Then, when the next text block appears in the new position, the animation continues as it should. It's important to do this for both layers. Remember this. The duplicated second one too, so the animation match, and also animate an additional null, so the text animation, as if it's being written, moves upward, not just shift in position. It should move with some momentum, transitioning in the new position, slightly more to the left. And on this null, also set the value to 100 in the animation graph, and then shift the text layer slightly to the right. Also, the next step is to duplicate those extra keyframes so values doesn't change. Check the animation graphs. And something went off here, so not the right graph. We have to fix it. And now everything should be okay. Sometimes animation graph behave oddly, so you need to double check if something shifts unexpectedly. So always check animation graphs or your keyframes. Also duplicate those two nulls. So from this moment the animation goes downward. Also shift the text animation slightly to the right, so it continues a bit longer while the rectangle animation finish, and then move those second keyframes to the right, almost to the end. And when the rectangle animation starts and the text transitions to the new position. So you got something like that. Also shift the second part of the text downward, since it animates upward and will move up a bit. So we need to lower it initially, so during the transition it ends up correctly higher. And that's why we move it slightly down. Now it looks fine. And also don't forget to adjust the position of some extra elements. This is the animation we get so far, like looks pretty nice. And the next step, let's make a little click effect on this arrow with the circle. We can easily just set 3 keyframes, middle one smaller, and it will look like a click. My values are 100, 90 or 95, and the third keyframe is also 100. Now create an extra overall null object to animate the whole rectangle text and all elements, making the transition into the next slide. The next slide will have text, so we set the first keyframe for this animation. Also, let's type the text right away so we can position it properly and parent it to the null object. In the animation, I'm showing you it like it said thinking, something like that, or let's just use this word. You can use whatever you want, but I will use like this word. And then move the text layer to the start of the null so we can know where the animation begins and align everything properly. So also set the second keyframe. And for now, don't parent the text, but parent all the other elements to this main null. We'll parent our text only after animating and right at the end. So at the end of the animation, when the timeline marker is there, because if not, we will have some problems. Like because if we parent at the start, the text will be in the wrong position. So right here we parent the text to the main null, and then at the peak speed trim all the elements, but keep the text layer on the right side. And also add the second text as well, so you can type whatever you want, and then create a little glowing effect, or how to call it, like a quick highlight effect. You'll see. And for this effect, to achieve this, draw a shape, circle, add the Gaussian blur on this, place it roughly in the middle, like about this size. Duplicate the circle. I think we'll increase its size. The first one around 250 and the second like 8 or 900. So it should fully cover the text, and then animate its position, moving to the right, and first the smaller circle should enter. It will create a kind of light flare or something like that, and the second circle will create the effect of covering the text. And at that moment, new text will appear and it will be like a text swap. With animation keys, just apply easy ease and stretch the keyframes a bit, so the animation is slower. And I also increased the size of the first circle a bit, and now it looks like this. First the light flare and then the text covering. At the end of the covering animation, I duplicated it, or rather trimmed it and changed its color to match the background so it doesn't stand out. And that gives us this animation. And also at the exact moment of covering, place the second text layer so the text swaps. And you also can make the ellipse slightly smaller because it's too big. In this way, the text replacement happens immediately, otherwise it leaves the screen empty too long. See, the text disappears and like immediately the new one shows up. That's what we've got. You can duplicate these two circles again to apply the same effect to the second text, and that's the animation we've got, friends. As always, thanks for watching. It was Motion Drum, and as usual, see you in the next video. Thank you.